All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Bitcoin Brief with your host, Tone Vays, joined by our usual co-hosts, Jimmy Song and Lex, Bitcoin Mechanic. Shit, my bad. Hold on. I'm on a different YouTube channel. That's why that happened. Okay. So I'm getting an ad. I'm like, what is this? That's not even me. No, it's because of an ad, and I'm gonna go to that in a minute. But hey guys, it's been like a month and a half or 2 months. I've been traveling. I know Lex has been like uprooting and moving his entire family. Jimmy, at least you're down there in Texas, which is not as crazy as the rest of Clown World. How you guys been? Lex, let's go to you because you're the one that like has been going nuts. Looks like you're back in your studio. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm back in Canada. It's been nice. It's been comfortable just going back to my house. It's such a bubble you're in, especially when you got a really young baby. You know, you just get to sort of sit at home and don't really interact with Clown World all that much. But you know, then you try and go outside, and it's like, whoa, I need not only a Vax pass but a government ID to match it and all that stuff. It's pretty vile here, I've got to say, and I'm glad to be getting on out as soon as possible. And the problem is there's just nowhere to go where you're like, this place is going to be fine. Nothing's ever going to happen that's bad here because, I mean, the list right now is Mexico and El Salvador. That's it. Those are the only two countries in the world, I think, apart from maybe Colombia.
Yeah, I was going to say Colombia. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently Colombia, once you're in, is really bad. Also, apparently Romania is open to Canadians, and Romania seems to have been quite cool. So I don't know. Yeah, that's it for me. That's how I'm doing.
Jimmy, how about yourself?
Well, I've been playing with Taproot stuff, and coding it and writing lots of tweets about it and so on. So it's been pretty exciting. I'm rediscovering that I don't really like coding. There's a reason why I got into this thing. So yeah, it's fun.
All right, awesome. So we do have a time limit for this show, and I'll tell you guys why in 1 second. We're jumping right on to screen share. And we did the Understanding Bitcoin conference out in Dubai. Lex was there, Giacomo was there. Unfortunately, Jimmy couldn't make it. And I've been so busy since then because of the financial summit, but the videos are finally have been uploaded to the Understanding Bitcoin channel. They are not yet visible, but I am starting to premiere those videos as of today. I want to release all of the videos from both days over the next 3 days. So if you are not yet subscribed to the Understanding Bitcoin YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe because in 85 minutes, we're going to premiere the first panel from that conference. It will live stream as if it's happening right now. Nothing at that conference was time sensitive. There was no Bitcoin price information. So go ahead and join us. I'll be in the live chat. Lex will be in the live chat, and we'll just hang out and watch the panel. Since I was organizing the event, I actually missed out on a lot of these panels, a lot of these tutorials. So this is the only way I can force myself to watch the conference that I was there for. But now I can relax and actually pay attention. So go ahead and join us immediately following this stream. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Of course, we got to talk about El Salvador. I unfortunately wasn't there. I was in Malta. I had some business there. There was another conference there. I was like the only Bitcoiner defending Bitcoin at this NFT and DeFi and God knows what else. Jimmy, I don't believe you went out there. Lex, did you go?
No.
Okay, none of us. I know Giacomo went, and a couple of the other guys from Dubai that were there all went. So I really felt bad not going. Felt like we definitely should have been there. But Bitcoin City was the big announcement right next to the volcano that's going to be powering the city. It's also going to be powered by Bitcoin bonds that Samson went on national TV to explain. I mean, Kelly put up that graphic with zero taxes across the board. I am looking forward to this. I know I'm setting up residencies and making my future, a little more decentralized around the world. But El Salvador will be added to the list. pretty soon. I still have to go there and visit. What do you guys think? Jimmy, let's start with you.
Well, it's interesting because they're clearly playing towards Bitcoiners, and no capital gains tax, no income tax. The only tax there is a value added tax of 10%, something like that, which is very reasonable given what other places are doing. So it could definitely be something really, really good. The thing is, like, it really needs like a lot of infrastructure and stuff like that, and a lot of capital investment to make it sort of viable. It's a pretty long-term project, I think. So they're gonna issue this like $1 billion Bitcoin bond, which I really like because they're able to give a middle finger to the IMF and not have to take their corrupt money. And that to me is really interesting, that they are able to, like, there's so much sort of like Cantillon effect money out there that having some upside with Bitcoin is going to be a big deal. And I think it's going to be really awesome going forward. You want, if you want to click on the Blockstream thing, it's the bond is issued on the Liquid network, and basically they're going to El Salvador is going to allow it to be on the Liquid network. It'll be traded on Bitfinex. I think it gets 6.5%, which is lower than the normal El Salvador bond. But the way they'll do it is they'll buy $500 million worth of Bitcoin, and the other 500 million will be used to invest in this, probably like roads and power lines and things like that to get the Bitcoin city going. But the 500 million that's allocated to Bitcoin, as long as it goes up, you get some serious upside as a bondholder, which should be very attractive to a lot of bond buyers and stuff like that, because they usually don't get this level of upside. This is why, for example, MicroStrategy's bonds have done so well, is because bondholders don't get this kind of upside. And it's obviously backed by the sovereignty of El Salvador and so on. So really interesting financial sort of like dealing here, which like MicroStrategy's obviously started with. But it's going to the nation state level, which is going to be very interesting going forward.
Lex, your thoughts? And we are jumping to the next set of stories as well, where the IMF is very, very pissed at El Salvador, of course, or anyone else using cryptocurrencies. So we'll get to those stories in a bit. And IMF literally recommends El Salvador to not use Bitcoin. This is... it's going to be hostile. Like, I really hope Bukele has amazing security. And if I was him, I would not leave that country for any reason at any point.
Well, he's definitely coming to Miami 2021, the Bitcoin 2022. So there's at least that.
Well, I mean, is he definitely coming? Because he's speaking at it, but he can do that remotely, right?
I suppose, yeah.
If I was him, I would speak remotely. If I was him, I would not leave the border of that country.
Yeah, I think like he's made a lot of very, very serious, overt changes. He's ousted, all the judges in his Supreme Court or whatever the equivalent is in El Salvador. This guy is a dictator, and there's no way to equivocate about that. He's very, very obviously made moves to. He's increased. I think you could only have one term, and now he's increased that to 2, which probably will just happen indefinitely. But Bitcoiners that I know aren't really fans of democracy anyway, and the reason they will champion things that look like monarchy or monarchy itself is because at least time preference gets lower on the part of the ruling class. And if he wants to embark on a long form project like Bitcoin City, it would be good if he doesn't have to worry about short-term thinking. And if he's going to look, guys, I'm not rationalizing dictatorship, of course, but let's at least talk about what it might manifest in reality, whether it's moral or not. And I think
I'm with you, Lex. I'm with you. And spending most of this year in Dubai and the UAE. The UAE is also like a monarchy. Like the country is ruled by 7 families, one of which is like 90% of the power. And then that's Abu Dhabi, and like Dubai is like the other 9% of the power. And then you have, you know, the other 5 at like 1% because they're just smaller states. And they have a very long-term outlook. And like people know when they go there what to expect for the next decade and where the country is moving. So yeah, we all hate, you know, totalitarian power, but it also depends how you use it. And the reason why we all hate it is because 99% of the time it's used for evil. But maybe this is that 1% exception in El Salvador and also in the UAE.
Yeah, but I want to be careful about that as well, because it's like in shitcoin land, the reason shitcoins are shitcoins is because of centralization of power, right? And if Vitalik turns around and starts doing good things with Ethereum, I'm not ever going to celebrate it just because of the essential design of how, well, just of the way it's structured in the first place. I like decentralization. So yeah, I'm there and I'm not there, because he's going to... If you're going to use this sort of power to sow the seeds of your own undoing, which is by developing and fleshing out Bitcoin infrastructure all over your country, then more power to you for as long as you can hold on to it. Because eventually, if everyone is not using Chivo wallet or, you know, enslaving themselves in some other manner and just using the liberational tech to do what it's supposed to do, there's nothing he can really do in the long run anyway. So the whole thing is like this is I find it really hard to reconcile what's going on. We've got an obvious dictator forcing, in a way, the issue of freedom and self-sovereignty to his own population, which is a really, really weird combination of things. And you have to assume that he either doesn't understand what he's doing, which I don't find realistic, or that it's just... I don't know. I have a hard time looking at things through the lens of incentives. I don't understand what the incentive is for someone that wants to be a dictator, forcing their population to go self-sovereign with their money. I haven't been able to reconcile that in my head.
Well, it's clear to me what he wants to do is get out from under the thumb of the U.S. and the IMF and things like that. So, I mean, the thing is, I don't know if it's that much better than, say, Canada. It's actually, I think you can argue it's better than Canada or Australia or a lot of these other places. So yeah, if you're going to have like, I mean, it's a step up for a lot of people is what I'm saying. And like, it might not be ideal, but you know, hey, like,
I agree. I think a lot of the freedom we enjoy in North America and Europe and these allegedly Western free democracies is not there anymore, and it's just sort of a hangover from the past that we think it's free, but the reality is dealing with the IRS in America should show you that you're really, like, when you contrast that with like what Zendo is showing us in Dubai, right? And he's saying, yeah, it's a monarchy, but who's really free? Because I don't pay any tax on anything. I can sell $10 million worth of Bitcoin and go and buy a huge, beautiful mansion with cash, and everything is above board. I don't need to explain anything to anyone. It's normal to do huge cash transactions. I don't need to worry about people asking me the origins of my funds or anything like that. Nothing needs to be under the table because no one's expecting any tax revenue from this in the first place. There's no income tax, no capital gains tax. So like that kind of freedom, while it can be taken away in 5 minutes because of the nature of the political system, it was unbelievable, like just to experience that. So when Bukele came out, and, like you said, with those big pink 0% signs as part of his presentation, it's a huge draw. The last thing I'll say on this, I think, is that it's the only place in the world doing this right now. And it would be really, to me, the whole thing becomes... it goes up a gear when you have more than one, because then you can compare and contrast the two, and you can get rid of that niggling feeling that, I mean, look, none of us is about to move, especially if we have kids, our families, to El Salvador, like the highest homicide rate in Central America or all of Latin America, I believe. It's still a crime-ridden and very, very backwater country for now. But if another country follows suit and you start to have a new middle class emerge because of all this ability to save and, you know, being able to receive remittances properly, things could develop really fast here, especially given the course the rest of the world is on. So eventually, I think something like this is going to happen in a way where it becomes realistic for Westerners to actually move there, that have like comfortable middle class lives with kids and stuff like that, where you're not going to move to the bottom of a volcano in the middle of a tumultuous situation with a newly crowned dictator, that's just doing all the right things when it comes to Bitcoin. But oh, and one more thing I wanted to point out is that Bitcoin has complained about the entry requirements with regard to COVID stuff, and they got rid of that, which is a huge check in their favor. They said no longer have test requirements or vaccine requirements to enter El Salvador. That's huge, because now they're the only country in the world that does that, apart from Mexico and Colombia, I believe.
Right. No, so that's a good transition, right, about other countries. So we're about to talk about Brazil a little bit. But my last note on it, look, we're all used to like monarchies and dictators that are hated by their people, but not in this case, right? Like in this case, just like in the case of the UAE, they're actually pretty loved by the people. They're happy that they are running the country the way they are. So as long as that continues, because Joe Biden just got a single-digit approval rating, like that takes enormous skill to do that, right? So when your leader is actually like embraced and beloved by the people, it's a completely different situation, of course, until it isn't. And he does know what his audience is. Those rules on vaccines and those rules on PCR tests were probably removed for Bitcoiners, because he knows that they are pretty anti-vaccines and pretty anti-testing. So he is, trying to get good capital investment in. And I would love to go to El Salvador and check it out, how this is all being built. So speaking of another country, and this is a pretty large country, Brazil is the biggest economy in Latin America, other than Mexico, I believe. Though I think they're on par with Mexico. I don't remember the ranking, but Brazilian president is another president that isn't exactly on board with all this vaccination stuff and all of this, financial stuff that is being forced upon them by the IMF and the United States. And there's already talk in Brazil, not to mention the biggest payment processor in all of Latin America is a Brazilian company that has just added and started integrating Bitcoin. I personally have been trying to go to Brazil for the last few years, just like Portugal and Japan, and COVID threw a big wrench in those plans. What do you guys think? Have you guys heard any whispers out there about the potential Bitcoin adoption in Brazil? I know maybe not as legal tender, obviously, because they have their own currency. They're not on as big a mission to get under the boot of the United States. But what are your thoughts on if Brazil starts to be more Bitcoin friendly? Oh, I didn't pick a name, so whatever. Who wants to jump in first? We gotta go for it. Don't be shy.
I mean, I don't know if this is one of those stories where I'll like pay attention when it actually happens, because you can propose things everywhere, right? And there's a lot of South American countries that want to get on the news because of all the press that El Salvador is gaining. So, a lot of different countries, I think, have legislators that are looking for attention, and this is their way of getting it by sort of doing stuff like this, right? Like, oh, okay, we might be able to do this if we propose it. I don't know. I don't believe it. You need a champion at the same level as Bukele, or enough people sort of like rising up and asking for it, which I don't see in Brazil. I don't think these Brazilian there's enough momentum there. But it's good to see that it's starting.
Yeah, I think just like the gold standard, right? It's going to be organic, largely in some percentage, and I think the majority of the adoption will just be organic adoption. What I'm really hoping to see is just an osmosis throughout Central and hopefully South America at the creation of a new middle class in El Salvador. I think that's realistic to see. And then I think El Salvadorans will be able, provided borders start to open up again, they'll be able to go on vacation to South Mexico. They'll be in Oaxaca. They'll be in, Panama, Costa Rica. And then they will just expect Bitcoin to be kind of around in those environments. And I think that's how it will ripple outwards in this part of the world. And then it becomes sort of irrelevant whether politicians make these bills and stuff. And as Jimmy was saying, we had, after El Salvador said it was going to make Bitcoin legal tender, we had a few bills introduced in the rest of Latin America, but they were like by one politician and just totally ignored. So it can get a lot of news, and it can be something that you can pay no attention to whatsoever. Like, until this actually happens, it can be just a nothing burger and something to get overexcited about.
Well, speaking of that trend, Amazon is already starting to drop traditional payments like Visa cards issued out of the UK because of the high fees. So all of these things could eventually add up to more Bitcoin adoption with Lightning. Any quick thoughts on this, Lex?
Well, funnily enough, my credit card is a Visa card from the UK, which is, I didn't realize it was just the UK until I sent you the story. I always was, for me, I've been waiting for this since 2012, which is, when is one of those big FAANG companies, especially Amazon or eBay, when is one of these companies going to stop losing so much money to the payment processes they use all the time? I mean, eBay and PayPal they were the same company for a while. I don't know if they are anymore, but
they are.
If you're going to, if your business model is going to be selling everything that everyone else sells at slightly cheaper, then you've already won so much, and you can win so much bigger if you just accept Bitcoin. And then, once you cut these, the massive part of the equation, if you're one of these huge online retailers, is MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, and whatever payment network you're dealing with. It's just such a no-brainer that they'd use Bitcoin, and I honestly cannot believe that it would take them so long. The fact that they're obviously having a bad relationship with Visa at the moment, that's signs that it's going to end up in that direction, whatever happens. So, I think it's. This ultimately just leads where I know it's going to end up. I'm just sort of flabbergasted that it's taking so long for huge retailers to accept Bitcoin.
Jimmy?
Yeah. I mean, this is what's, what everybody has been trying to do for many years, right? Like we had Google Pay, Apple Pay, or Google Wallet, Samsung Pay, and they all want to get into this game because they know how enormously profitable it is. The thing is, the 2 to 3% that they charge the merchant, it really cuts into their profit margin, because oftentimes the profit margin is less than 5%. So if you're taking 2 or 3%, that's half their profit margin. So, Amazon actually has the, serious market penetration to be able to, kind of move things that way. And if it's 2%, 3% cheaper, and if merchants can make more money, well, that's the direction that they're going to go. And we've seen over the last 5 years or so, stuff like Venmo and Cash App get way more popular, and those cost nothing. And if they cost nothing and credit cards cost 2 or 3%, guess what? There's going to be a way to make this profitable, or it's a race to the bottom. The payment networks of Visa, MasterCard, Amex, it can't last, because the cost of actually doing it is much cheaper, and you can monetize the users much easier. The reason why they're able to do that right now is because credit cards essentially allow you to print money out of thin air. So, there's some level of that's driving a lot of this. But if they don't have this nice juice of 2 or 3%, well, it's a race to the bottom. I can't see it lasting. Yeah,
and also inflation is making this 3% seem a lot bigger, right? So as everything you pay for goes up in price, all of a sudden, you're buying something that's worth a few $1,000s, and it's like, wait a minute, there is a 3% credit card fee that starts to get passed on to the consumer. So the consumer will start to feel it as well, because eventually the next option for Amazon is to just pass the fee along to the consumer instead of them eating it.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
Go. All right. Well, I'm going to say, like, Bitcoin is designed for merchants, right? It's not. It's worse for consumers, and it's in some ways, and it's in a reflective, symmetrical manner. It's better for the merchants because there are no chargebacks. There's no fraud potential. If you receive Bitcoin, you've got Bitcoin. So it's over. Like, this is going to be so much, like, because it's not just the fees, right? It's also people that, like, I've had stuff show up from Amazon before that I didn't buy just because of some mistake, and I can just say to my credit card or my bank, like, look, I didn't buy this thing, or even if I did buy it, I can just claim that it's fraudulent, and then that's a huge headache for Amazon, and they've got to deal with that, millions of times every week probably, as people making chargeback complaints and stuff like that. With Bitcoin, all that's gone. All the overhead of having to deal with financial malfeasance, if that's the right word, like, all of that's gone. So it's going to happen. I think there must be some fiat economics that's keeping everything going, that makes them turn a blind eye to all this stuff. There must be some reason that Amazon, some source of revenue they have, some quintillionaire kind of stuff, where they don't really have to care that much about the fact that they're paying 3% credit card fees on something they only have a 5% profit margin on. There's got to be more to the story. Otherwise, this just wouldn't have been sustainable up until this point.
Well, the other thing about inflation, Tone, is that people really don't like raising prices because it's going to lower your sales and stuff like that. This is the margin that they're going to come after first. So, you can keep it at the same price if you're not getting charged a 2 or 3% fee, and this is a nice way to do it.
All right, so let's move on. We already talked about how the IMF is not very happy with El Salvador, which is probably the main reason why El Salvador went the Bitcoin route, is to get out from the IMF's boot. But beyond that, we have the technological expert award winner of the year with her email server in her house as the leading expert in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, talking about how it's going to be a problem for the US dollar. I mean, who makes this ridiculous decision to put the 98-year-old Hillary Clinton out there on her technological expertise? Can someone please answer this question?
Well, the funny thing is, she sounds like every crypto head anyway. She's conflating Bitcoin and crypto, which is a mistake anyway, because they're basically as far apart as you can be in the design. There's nothing crypto's going to do here. She's talking about regulating it. What are you going to do? It's already been pigeonholed into everything else, and it doesn't have all of crypto, with the exception of Bitcoin, doesn't have any unique ability to circumvent, centralized control. And everything's done through KYC exchanges. They're getting the tax they'd expect to get, and it's all been pigeonholed into existing, taxation legislation. So who cares? Like, I mean, she's asking for something that already exists in full anyway. People not paying tax on their crypto gains is already illegal, and it's already traceable. So what's actually the complaint here? It seems like she hasn't really understood the whole space, which, I mean, I guess you already pointed out, but she just sounds like every crypto head. She hasn't understood what actually a lot of American politicians understand now, which is this DINO concept of decentralization in name only, or decentralized in name only. Like, she's just old woman yells at Bitcoin, basically.
Jimmy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like that we're making enemies with Hillary Clinton. Like, this is exactly the type of, like, boomer, like, doesn't know what the hell she's talking about kind of person that we want as enemies, right? Like, because, like, really, does she really have credibility with many people anymore? I mean, yeah, she's probably part of the Democratic Party, and she has some, level of ability to influence people there. But she doesn't represent the progressives of that party. She doesn't, it's basically our exact enemy that, we've always seen. So I'm glad we're pissing off the right people.
Yeah, well, speaking of enemies, obviously El Salvador keeps making enemies. Now they're being sued by HSBC. Again, the model of honesty and in banking is suing El Salvador for breach of investment treaty. How is this for hypocrisy?
I mean, it doesn't get worse than HSBC. I mean, like, of all the like malpractice, there's nothing quite like it. I knew it was bad, and then there was something on Netflix called Dirty Money, I think, which went into just how bad it was, what they were doing with these drug cartels and all that stuff. Funnily enough, I think, as a brief like aside, I think this is why Mexico could struggle to get Bitcoin adoption, because the cartels have the country working exactly the way they like it. And they like having HSBC do all their laundering for them. And contrary to, casual observers, what they make about Bitcoin, Bitcoin isn't anonymous. And it's actually, unless you really know what you're doing, it's one of the worst ideas to do any financial crimes on the Bitcoin network, because everything's in public forever. So if any addresses become associated with you, a complete history of what you've been doing is on the world's most persistent ledger. So it's actually nice to have someone like HSBC, some huge recognized bank with a banking charter that has a record of fraud and illegal activity that only ever has to pay fines for it. No one goes to jail. It's a very comfortable situation for the cartels to use. So I genuinely think, given that they run Mexico, they might be pushing to keep Bitcoin, out of the country for a while, which I don't know, maybe there's going to be a lot more factors to it. But nonetheless, HSBC, whatever, they can sue El Salvador if they want. This is all par for the course. If you're going to escape, you can't not make a lot of enemies and get punished for it severely if you're going to exit the fiat system, which is what El Salvador is doing. So there'll be more of this to come.
We're going to do a little Taproot update at the closer to the end of the show. So privacy in Bitcoin might be actually coming. I don't know, Jimmy, if you want to comment on this first. And also, you guys just reminded me when you were talking about not being able to tell the difference between Bitcoin and crypto. India just announced they're passing a bill to make all creation of private cryptocurrencies illegal. And based on what I've read, someone in India does understand the difference between Bitcoin and every other shitcoin, because every other shitcoin is a private cryptocurrency created by some guy in his basement, where Bitcoin is not. So I'm assuming this is where India is going, where just like the United States, they admit that Bitcoin is decentralized and is not a security and there's nothing they can do, but everything else is basically some guy printing his own money. So comment on HSBC and maybe India, if you guys are aware of this news hitting the wires a few days ago.
Yeah, we're entering that area where Bitcoin is actually like in the conversation for a lot of different things, and it's getting much more mainstream, which is very strange in a way, because we've been in sort of like a dark corner of the web for a long time, but now we're seeing this has like international ramifications, right? Like we have bills in India and like lawsuits among banks and countries and stuff like that. So, there's going to be more of this ahead, where we're going to see, the traditional powers that be sort of start fighting and skirmishing. It's, very much sort of like the, Cold War era or something like that, where you have little fights here and there and they become more symbolic or whatever. Thing is, it'll be very hard to kill Bitcoin, so we'll be watching.
Lex, any quick comment on this? And again, this is the big toss-up. So Giacomo and I and Jimmy and I have always argued, the SEC. Yes, I hate the SEC as well, and other stuff. But the point that we make on this channel, and the point that we've always made on this channel, going back 6 years now, or going back to the crypto network before that, is that if your shitcoin is regulatable and the government has the ability to shut it down, it is not worth, too much effort in researching, investing, and building on top of. And this is why we have generally stayed away from everything other than Bitcoin, because we know with the right pressure, they will go down, and that pressure is centralization.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And it'll continue for a while.
All right. So speaking of centralization, another controversial person, especially on this channel, because I am very critical of Jack Dorsey, and a lot of people in the Bitcoin space love him, and some people do criticize him, like myself. Them and Square are looking to build a decentralized exchange, and I really thought he had good advisors to tell him that it is impossible for him to achieve this goal, but he is trying. So any comment on this, Jimmy? What the hell is Jack Dorsey doing? Because we thought he was smarter than this when it comes to Bitcoin, even though I continue to give him shit that he should focus more on freedom of speech than Bitcoin.
Well, the white paper is actually quite interesting, and it uses something like a web of trust using like a decentralized identifier, which you can build on top of Bitcoin and so on. I don't think this is a bad idea. I think this is how you convert Bitcoin to fiat money without going through an exchange. And we already have something like that with this. The innovation that they're bringing with this white paper is this idea that you can use some sort of like endorsement of people that you've already dealt with or something like that, and you can use your own web of trust kind of to figure out if you can trust this person, because like if Tone, you traded with somebody and it went well and I trust you, then you might trust that person. That way I have like sort of like a line of trust that way, and I can have a little bit more security in dealing with that person for doing things like that. I don't think this is a bad product.
I'm still skeptical on that one, because that's how you end up getting like in trouble by vouching for someone that eventually does something bad, not to mention they know that you've dealt with them in the past. But also this concept is atomic swaps. I mean, we've had those for a while. You don't and they can be executed right on top of the current infrastructure. So my concern is that eventually this TBDex will have its own shitcoin. You're not.
I don't think they're going to go do that. And like the whole design, if you read it and everything, it looks like it's meant to be a way to get around exchanges. And in a sense, this is kind of like undermining Cash App a little bit, because if you can go out and buy non-KYC Bitcoin using this DEX, that's huge. That's big. And being able to sell it in the same way and get cash for it or something else.
Again, skeptical. How are you going to be able to buy non-KYC Bitcoin? How do you get cash into the system?
Yeah, I mean, so it's basically kind of like local Bitcoins, except no central server. At least that's what I understand.
Yeah, look, I'll vouch for Jack. As more time passes, the more I think he's on the right side of things, and he's just made a sort of Faustian bargain with remaining CEO of Twitter. I think this is psychologizing, but I think he's fine. I think he wants Bitcoin to do what the cypherpunks want Bitcoin to do. I think he's aligned with the motives. When Luke got banned, we made a big stink about it. Luke got brought back to Twitter, which doesn't happen very often, and Jack followed him the minute he came back. So that was a statement of sorts, I thought. I think he's just, I can't do anything about the ridiculous SJW culture here. It's infested Twitter and all social media platforms. I'm not going to bother fighting it, because what's the point? Carry on with the disinformation, ban anyone that says anything true about COVID, but whatever. We're making Bitcoin. None of this is going to matter in 10 years. And I think that's basically his approach. I've had that verified to me by people that actually know him. I don't know him personally myself, but that was my hunch. And I've had basically people be like, yeah, I know the guy. That's exactly what the deal is here. So that doesn't mean it can't become a bad thing. With this though, Jimmy, do you know like more about what it's like? Because everything's decentralized apparently, but what is the actual way this is structured? Is it realistic for it to grow wings.
I think you have to run your own node, basically, which is the key to decentralizing anything. You have to make it so that you can run it. But I mean, it's just a white paper at this point. We don't actually have a product. So until that comes out, we won't really know.
So what's wrong with BISC?
Well, there's no like sort of trust relationship or anything like that that you establish. That's the big innovation here, is that it's different than BISC in the sense that you establish trust relationships, and then you don't need to go outside your circle of trust.
Sorry, it's like that on Jack's thing, or it's like that on BISC? Because BISC does have a reputation system.
Yeah, but that reputation system can be gamed, right? Because you don't know who like with this, it's more, okay, if somebody endorsed it, then that's a better reputation score than, if somebody you don't know did it.
Fair enough. But I mean, even, you're right. The potential for that doesn't exist on BISC. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. You asked, Tony, you mentioned shitcoins and their own token and stuff like that. I mean, it is an exchange. I always make the joke that the only Bitcoin exchange that doesn't have a shitcoin associated is Wasabi Wallet, which sounds ridiculous, but like, you're going to have a shitcoin where the US dollar is still a shitcoin, remember? Like, so, I mean, you're going to have to exchange something for something else. Like,
but I mean, like, my audience knows what it means. All right, so maybe I should start apologizing to Jack on both fronts. Coming from someone who is constantly shadow banned on Twitter, or gets shadow banned, eventually it comes off. All right, maybe I should take it a little bit easy on Jack. I'm getting a lot of shit from my own followers too right now in the live chat. All right, so maybe I should take it easy on Jack going forward, and we'll keep an eye on the development of the TBDex.
I don't mean to push you to take it easy on him, because the position he's in, it makes sense for him to constantly be under scrutiny. Like, and you should give him a shit for the stuff that happens. And Twitter is disgraceful, so never stop giving him shit, man. But I think just for your own conscience, for me, when he gets involved in Bitcoin, talking about development of hardware wallets and exchanges like this and platforms like Cash App and Square and all that, it's really uncomfortable if you think this guy is a bad actor. And I've come to the conclusion that I don't need to worry about that, at least for now. And so it's just to ease my own conscience rather than to actually declare some sort of endorsement of the guy. I wouldn't go that far. I just think he's genuinely motivated in the right way when it comes to Bitcoin.
All right. Any other closing thoughts on this before we get a mining update and a Taproot update? But before we do, since we do have about 500 live viewers, guys, the videos from Understanding Bitcoin that took place a little over a month ago. I mean, we've had the videos. I've just been busy. I uploaded all the videos. They will start premiering in 45 minutes. The first panel with Lex and Giacomo, moderated by Stefan Livera, will premiere on the Understanding Bitcoin YouTube channel. The YouTube channel might be a little bit hard to find. I think I forgot to put the link in the video description of this video. I will do it actually right now. But while the guys are covering the next topic, you can also find it in all of my other videos, the link to it. And also, if you just follow, if you think I don't follow that many YouTube channels, so if you're on my channel, just look at which YouTube channels I follow and follow Understanding Bitcoin. I'm going to try to show all the videos from both days over the next 3 days. By Monday, it will all be out. All right. Final topics real quick, guys. Mining. So Lancium raises 150 million to build Bitcoin mines running off renewable energy. I mean, it's great that they're getting all this investment. The billion-dollar question is, where do you get the mining hardware? Because it is impossible to get your hands on it. It's not being produced fast enough, which is the only reason why our hash rate is still so freaking low and has not yet even broken the pre-China ban levels. What are your guys' thoughts on mining? I mean, this story and mining in general. Lex, I'll start with you on this one this time.
Yeah, so $150 million if you wanted to buy S19Js or something like that, pretty much the latest generation of ASICs from Bitmain, the highest, sort of the most efficient ASICs on the market. you're looking at about 10,000 ASICs, which is actually not ridiculous. I think you can get that. I mean, but bear in mind that would be just if the money was spent on ASICs, which is not going to be. Like, you need to build the infrastructure. You need to, if you're immersing, you need to buy all the, the mineral oil and all that stuff to cool it down. So you're looking at probably like 20, 30 million as well, just to build the actual facility and to get the power going to it and pay all your operatives and all that stuff. So, I mean, you're looking at like 7 or 8,000 ASICs. You'll be able to find that. Like, you can buy 100 pretty easily. So you're looking at like 80 purchases from various suppliers around the world. I actually think it's quite doable. But nonetheless, what's going on with Adam Back and Blockstream and all these people trying to bring the fabrication of these things to the West, trying to get out on that, break that dependency on China. That's a great thing. I'd like to see that happen. I'm not sure how far away we are from it, because at the moment it is grossly, probably the most centralized part of the whole Bitcoin ecosystem is the manufacture of ASICs, because you have a few companies that do it from exactly the same, and they have the same dependencies between them as well, I believe. So you've got Canaan, and you've got Bitmain, and you've got WhatsMiner, and I don't really think there's any alternative in those three companies, right? So if we had like Blockstream come out with a miner that is manufactured in Canada or America, that would just be a game changer. Even if it wasn't as efficient, like it would just help make the whole thing a lot more robust as part of Bitcoin's ecosystem.
Well, Blockstream did buy a chip manufacturing company, so Blockstream doesn't tend to build their own miners going forward.
They do.
Yeah.
They're just a little bit. It's going to take a while, like at least another year. I hope it's fast, but they bought. I can't remember the name of the company they bought.
Spondulis.
Yeah, that's right. Those guys haven't made an ASIC since, sort of the 25, 30 nanometer chip size era, which is way in the past now. I know Alejandro was like, that's like, hiring the guys that made the Game Boy to come along and help you with some new gaming system from the current year or something. But I think that's unfair. I don't think that's a good comparison. I think it's a good move. I hope it happens. I'm just not sure about the time frame. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on this.
Yeah, I think from what I hear, a lot of miners are still building stuff up, and they're waiting to deploy it. You need like large substations of energy in order to power a lot of these miners. So that's why a lot of them haven't been put online. They've been able to sort of stave off having to sell their miners. So they're just sort of holding on to them in the meantime until their facilities get built and so on. A lot of them have moved to Texas and so on. The big choke point here is chip manufacturing, and everybody goes through like the same 2 or 3 chip manufacturers out there, and these are foundries like TSMC, I think Samsung and Global Foundries, but TSMC is by far and away the one that knows how to do it the best and gets the best yields and so on. So everyone uses them. This is also why you're getting like shortages in like cars and stuff, because they can't produce these chips fast enough. All of their chip manufacturing facilities are going 24/7, and they just don't have enough capacity. So they are building one in Arizona and Japan and some other places. So it is going to eventually make it. It's just that building these facilities is a long and difficult endeavor. But once they get built and these things continue, it's going to be a big deal, right? Like they're going to be able to produce at a much higher clip for all sorts of industries, and it won't be so centralized in China. I'm sure there are lots of competitors that will think about coming in to the chip manufacturing game. So it's a lot of different moving things, but they're all trending in the right direction.
Yeah, I want to see a big I don't mind this sort of scale of things. I don't like big centralization of pools. Like what happened with Mara pool earlier this year was a horrible thing to witness, right? So when we get like, billions of dollars to mine in this one central facility, that's not great. And then maybe I can even rant about Compass mining a little bit because they've been in the spotlight a bit this week. I threw a bit of heat at them because I have a miner with them that went down and with no explanation. And, I just find a lot of the explanations being given and a lot of the endorsement being a little bit disingenuous or just misguided. Having people host your miner for you doesn't do anything to decentralize mining in the Bitcoin network. If there's one entity like Compass Mining and there's a million plebs all have one ASIC each that they've bought that Compass are hosting and they're mining with it, that does nothing to decentralize Bitcoin mining. Like if Compass decide that we don't want this transaction in a block, even fair enough, you're the one selecting the pool and where you actually contribute, but that is something that goes through a middleman. So I just want to make sure that's like out there in the consciousness about the fact that if someone else is not your house, basically, not your ASIC, if someone else has the ASIC and it's under their control and they're the ones, configuring it to mine the way it mines, you might make some money. That's about it. There's nothing else really happening there.
All right. Let's move on. And we did cover a lot on mining at the financial summit over in the UAE as well. We had a representative from Bitfarms who did some amazing presentations for people. And since people in this live audience got very upset with my statement that Biden has a single-digit approval rating, I did not make that up. Oh, I can't. Oh, that's a different thing. You can't see it. Never mind. It's an article in the New York Post. So, hold on. My computer is kind of frozen. Shit. Crap. There we go. Okay. Never mind. All right.
Tom, we got to get the politics channel together because we have to do it. It's not appropriate for the show, this stuff I want to say about Biden and about COVID and all that. You have to get the political channel together, man. It will get banned in its first week, but it'll be fun to
do. We generally kept politics to a minimum on this show. All right. Anyway, let's do a Taproot update. Jimmy, you've been playing around with Taproot quite a bit. Give us a full update. I mean, it did get fully in the blockchain now. Everything is all set. What are the next steps? What is already being built? You're playing around with it. I have no idea what that means. So tell us.
Yeah, so it did activate on block 709632, which was a couple of weeks ago, and it was mined by F2 Pool. Turns out that they had a bug and they didn't mine any actual Taproot transactions, and neither did Pool, which also didn't update their software or whatever. And it wasn't until 709635 that actual Taproot transactions made it in. And there's a lot of real cool sort of features that are in Taproot that get in. I've been tweeting about it, but basically for all practical sort of security threats, Taproot provides some mitigation, and that's huge. And I don't think people realize just how huge those are going to be. So for example, what you could do with Taproot as a wallet developer is you can add sort of different backup or recovery options essentially for free, because they're sort of hidden underneath a Merkle root. So for example, you can say after 2 years, my wife can go get the UTXO using her key, and I don't have to know about her key or anything else. And she has access to it. And as long as she knows about that path, all my UTXOs can be recovered that way after 2 years and that. And, if you get divorced in the meantime, something you can do is move those coins, before that happens using some other path or the key that you have. There's all sorts of ways in which Taproot makes it much easier to recover from user error. It makes it easier to like sort of keep away from people that want to steal it or confiscate it away from you. You can add all sorts of lock times without like wondering if you screwed up or whatever, because you have all these other paths that'll work as well. So it's a lot more fault tolerant, and I think that's the direction that we're going to go see it being used. And certainly, like as I've been sort of coding Taproot stuff in my library, I'm realizing just how powerful it can be. So I made like a 3 of 5 multi-sig on Taproot. So one of the things that you can do is, instead of showing all 5 public keys whenever you spend, you just use the 3 keys that you are spending, or you only show the 3 keys that you are spending by having a Taproot tree. And that preserves privacy. They have no idea if it's 3 of 5, 3 of 4, 3 of 3, or 3 of 9, or whatever. There's no way to know just by looking at it, although maybe you can guess. And that sort of thing can be very powerful going forward, because you don't know what the public keys are. You have no idea what they're doing with it or how it's secured. And if you use Musig on top of that, then there's like, you almost get no information because it's still locked to a single key. So I really like a lot of the abilities of Taproot, and wallet developers are really going to have to step up their game and figure out ways to provide users with all the functionality that Taproot provides.
All right. So before we get Lex's take on this, I'm going to stop screen share, and we are joined by the one and only NVK of Cold Card, CoinKite, Open Dimes, and whatever else you guys have coming out. Anything you want to say? Another fellow Canadian along with Mechanic. So let's keep politics to a minimum before my channel gets banned, as earlier mentioned. But what are your thoughts on, well, first of all, do an intro, because you haven't been on this channel in like 2 years. And after that, tell us about Taproot.
Is it being that long? Wow.
Probably.
No, we wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, man. No, it's this is NVK. Some of you used to see me with Tone in the morning here, and Jimmy. Nice seeing you, Jimmy.
Hey.
Hi, Mechanic. I don't think we've met.
Hey, we haven't met. I'm Merkel Syrup, and I'm always messaging you about annoying stuff to do with cold cards, because I get people set up. It's me in Slack always being like, something didn't work. So we've spoken, but you wouldn't know me under my Mechanic name. Nice to meet you, man.
Hard to put the names with the names. Anyway, so yeah, man. Nice to be back here, saying hi and stuff. And I don't have too much to add. I mean, Jimmy sort of like really did the good run through there about Taproot, at least the tail end that I caught there. I haven't had a chance to put too much effort into it because we're so like swamped with other stuff right now. But it's coming. Cold card support for Taproot is coming at some point soon, I hope.
2 weeks, right?
Yeah. So like with the challenge is like, there is a big sort of user base out there, and it's money handling code, so we take this stuff like super seriously, so it'll take a while. Right now it's more like devs and people who are interested in messing around with it, which is really cool, but it'll take a while for like the market to actually sort of go on top of it. Lots of little nice improvements that Change to Bitcoin made. What else is new, Tone?
Man, you tell us. What do you think about El Salvador? That was another big topic. Were you there? Did you make it down?
No, I didn't. It's been hard to get out, 1-year-old, 3-year-old, and sort of like, travel restrictions and all that crap. It seems like El Dictator is really doing well there with the zero tax. I'm very curious to see if that second mandate becomes a third mandate, or if it's just gonna stick to 2 mandates and zero tax and be a good place. I don't know. There's promising. It's a promising place. It would be nice to see more places, stick the finger to the IMF and do the Bitcoin thing. it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I mentioned earlier, and we're going to be streaming the videos from Understanding Bitcoin in Dubai, where we had like a whole 2-hour tutorial teaching people how to use a Jade. At the next Understanding Bitcoin, would love to get someone there, give the audience code cards and teach them how to use it and document it all and videotape it. So I'd love to rotate, good Bitcoin wallets at that conference.
We'll send Mags. Mags has joined the team now. She's gonna be running a lot of that stuff, which is a lot of fun.
Awesome.
I think it's a Crypto Mags, her tweeter. Yeah, I don't know. Did you guys check out Bitcoin.holiday, the new little fun domain for Bitcoin holidays? Because,
Yeah.
We are the USF victors, so I figured we get to write history and pick all the holidays and everything. So
wait, what is it? What is it?
Bitcoin.holiday.
All right, let's do it.
There you go. We're going to be adding a lot more stuff there. Jimmy, if you have suggestions, we'd love to get them. Just email us. And,
Well, I want a print version. That's the only problem.
Yeah, me too. I love.
I want it on my wall. I was disappointed that I couldn't order it when I saw this.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, we can look into integrating this into some API that makes prints and sends to people if they want to buy it. One cool thing though about this calendar.
Oh, wait, you already. I think it's August 21st, right? The Infinity Day that Newt was started like pushing really well.
I can't remember.
It's Bitcoin
Kite Day, such a show, man.
I know, right? Look at that.
Listen, it wasn't a cheap domain, so we get to have a few what's in there. The cool thing about this one is that like he actually works with CalDev, so like you can actually subscribe to this, and then it's sort of like it shows on your phone actual calendar, and there is no ads aside from a few of our spots there. There really is no ads. We sort of been on a little bit domain spree, and we're gonna have a lot of like sites that sort of like AstroTurf Bitcoin that is friendly to Bitcoin after the debacle of Bitcoin.com. If we set up a budget just for this, just to take Bitcoin domains and put content that Bitcoin deserves.
Yeah, here, add Bitcoin Infinity Day, August 21st.
Okay. Drop it on the chat and that tweet link and we'll add it.
All right, cool. Yeah, this looks pretty cool. I like the clean nature of the. I like how clean it is. It's awesome.
Yeah, we wanted to make it normie friendly. The normies are coming at some point soon.
All right, cool. All right, guys, we got to wrap the show up because we are going to have the first premiere of the panel. The very first panel from Understanding Bitcoin will be premiered in 25 minutes on the Understanding Bitcoin YouTube channel. The link has been added to this video description. So join us there right after this stream. I still have to cover price a little bit. The mempool is pretty damn empty. 1 sat per byte transactions coming through already. So keep that in mind. Like, see, this is what bothers me, man. Like the blocks are completely empty. There was like 3 transactions in this block right here. And people are still sending 200 sat per byte. And this is mostly exchanges that don't give a shit about you. And they're passing on the fee to you.
Hey, I can jump in with a reason that might happen. And it's totally legitimate. So supposing you have a transaction you built and signed but didn't broadcast yet, and you were holding it off for an emergency situation, like, oh, the price of Bitcoin just tanked $20,000 and I need to add more collateral to my leverage position. You would deliberately put that at a really high sat per byte fee, and so that you wouldn't have to reconstruct the transaction, re-export it, plug it into your cold card, sign it, like do all that stuff. I'm not going to do that. So we just make it really high fee, because who cares? You're paying $20 for a transaction that you need to happen immediately, and you don't want to be stingy with your fee in a circumstance where Bitcoin is tanking and you're about to get liquidated. So there are reasons you might pay a really high fee, even if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. but exchanges are still pretty rough.
Yeah, there are some services that they'll charge you like. I checked out this. I think it's South Korean. It's not an exchange, but they do like interest. It's like another one of these BlockFi, kinds of deals, and they charge 40,000 sats for a withdrawal flat, and that's a lot of money now, which is really stupid. But I actually just think that's. I didn't check whether that actually was the transaction fee or whether they just take that money for themselves. It's maybe legitimate to charge users for the hassle of processing withdrawals for them, but there are no coin floor in the UK, which is now shut down, but that used to be 500,000 sats 50,000 sats blanket every time you do a withdrawal from them. And that's a lot. It's a lot. It really is. And they need to stop doing that stuff. And they need to stop batching as well.
Gotcha. All right, guys. I need to cover price a little bit. Feel free to stick around or get going. Jimmy, if you need to get going, we'll promote your stuff now.
Yeah, let's finish up so I can finish what I was doing. But yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. Yeah, you can go to that or programmingbitcoin.com. That's below.
Jimmy also has his Substack newsletter, and you can get his Amazon link. And of course, Programming Bitcoin.
Yeah, which has been redesigned a little bit because of
nice.
Yeah, because basically like I borked my my thing, so it's now better. But yeah, I have my seminar probably in London, March 1st and 2nd, depends on whether I can get in, and Miami 4th and 5th, because that's when Bitcoin 2022 is going to be. I also have my books, Thank God for Bitcoin, Programming Bitcoin, and the Little Bitcoin book. All of those are which are available on Amazon.
Way better. I have so many less clicks now. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see if we can add a book to this collection soon. But yeah, a lot of these have been translated, by the way, to other languages. So we just released like Finnish, the Little Bitcoin book, and like Dutch, Thank God for Bitcoin. So if you're in one of those countries or speak one of those languages, that might be something to look forward to. My newsletter is jimmysong.substack.com. And yeah, I'm on Twitter at jimmysong. So there you go.
Yep. Awesome. And hey, in case Jimmy can't get into London, he would, of course, be welcome at Unconfiscatable, where the dates are finally posted. And this is going to go on sale, should go on sale this weekend, the latest Monday. Looking for speakers that can either make their way into the US because of the dumb US vaccine mandate, not allowing tourists in. And I'm hoping to get, the people that are already inside the American borders to come and present at Unconfiscatable, since we have Rodolfo on as well, and VK. CoinKite, let's promote some cold cards. Is he on? Well, anyway, and
jumped in. Like no need to Sheila. It's all cool. Check out the Black Friday website. There's lots of companies there too. It's bitcoinblackfriday.org. Is
that a different site? Do you have a link to it? I gotta type it in.
Sure, it's bitcoinblackfriday.org.
.org?
Yeah. Gotta get today.
Just .org.
He means ORG, like org.
You got it. I wouldn't be surprised if he made it orgy.
It speaks to the debauchery of Americans on Black Friday. I like it.
There you go. There's a few companies there. This is sort of like the community one.
Wow, how much is a block clock mini these days anyway?
It's a $3.99.
Okay. Wow.
Sale today, $20 off. I know it costs money to make.
Whoa, a de-Googled Pixel 4a. That's interesting. It just comes with. You have to flash it yourself or not? I don't know. Anyone?
It's some other company that sort of put that there. It seems interesting.
Yeah, I've been using graphene on a Pixel for ages. It's really good.
All right, Lex, let's show your stuff and
Yeah, so
you're grass fed.
yeah, I'm at grass-fed Bitcoin. Yeah.
Any start 9 deals right now? Did you guys get your hands on some more Raspberry Pis?
Yeah, we've got loads of Raspberry Pis, and we're doing some exciting stuff down the pipe.
Hey guys, I do have Start 9 as an affiliate right there on the Tone-Vays affiliate page. So if you are going to pick one up, go ahead and support by going through tonevays.com. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, we missed Black Friday, but we're like, I think tomorrow or over the next few days are starting a big, just across the board 15% discount on everything that will run until the end of the year. So yeah, it's a good time to pick up some Start 9 stuff. You can do it just as you see there on your screen. We're in the Fold app now as well, so I think you can get 7% sats back if you buy anything Start 9 related via Fold. We're in talks as well to start developing to come up with the sort of alternative for our hardware. The new operating system 030 that we've been working on, that's almost finished, is going to be much more capable of running on other platforms rather than just the Raspberry Pi like the current version. But we've got some exciting stuff there. I'm not really sure how much I can say about it because we're still very early on in talks, but we've got some real interesting hardware stuff coming down the pipeline. But yeah, the discount, 15% discount, things are looking really good. 030 upgrade is incredible. We have a private beta out right now, so we've got developers working on it and squashing bugs. Public beta any day now, and then 030 I should imagine before Christmas. But we've stopped giving out time estimates now, so please delete what I just said from your head, because every time we estimate a time, we end up missing it, and that causes, it's just not worth making estimates anymore. But we're very close now, and it's really good. I'm running it myself. I'm checking out 030. I'm using the services on it. It's really good. It's really solid, and it runs so much better now. So everything's been upgraded a lot, and it's a really exciting time at Start 9 for sure. And check out Matt, the CEO of the company, on Marty Bent's show. They did like a 2.5 hour podcast a couple of days ago. I think it came out, and it's incredible. They just go down so many rabbit holes. It was a really good listen.
All right, yeah, do that. And also this weekend, I will be releasing all the videos from Understanding Bitcoin, where Bitcoin Mechanic did an hour-plus demo of all the stuff you could do with the Start 9 Embassy. So make sure you check that out as well. All right, guys, we need to talk about price, because Bitcoin is a little bit of trouble, and it all started on Black Friday, a real Black Friday that took the stock market down big time, all attributed to a COVID variant coming out of South Africa and Botswana, which has actually been confirmed that variant started in vaccinated people. I haven't tweeted that part out yet, of course. No one should be surprised. But here it is, crashed the stock market and took down Bitcoin quite a bit. So let's go and take a look at the price of Bitcoin and see what is going on. The weekly chart has picked up this red star candle. In a way, I kind of like this reset that's happening right now. Yes, this could create some, further downside, but I do not believe we're going to go below these moving averages. I think this pullback is going to be on par with the pullback back in September, and new all-time highs early next year. New all-time highs this year, based on what happened in the last 24 hours, are starting to look a little bit unlikely. This is our Consensio chart. I was holding on to a 75% bullish allocation, but obviously, as I've been saying for a little while, this would be drastically reduced once this current candle started to go down. And that's exactly what happened here. So as of the start of this candle in the last 24 hours, as it started to break below or towards the prior swing lows, the bullish allocation on a position scale needs to now be lowered to 40, 50%. And it will stay this way as long as the price of Bitcoin is above the long-term moving average, which on this chart is 30 period moving average on a 4-day chart. That we're still in a bullish trend. The make or break line is going to be right here, equivalent to the prior swing highs of 52,000, and we're almost there. That's also where the moving average is. I think this is strong support, but we cannot, take chances, and that is why the allocation has now been lowered to 40 to 50% of a bullish position. The daily chart, as I've been saying, yesterday's candle was looking promising, but until that candle got over the big hump of $60,000, this was always going to be a potential dead cat bounce into a resistance zone of the moving average, which has now flattened out, and that is the 50 period moving average. I also said yesterday I would have loved to see a big crash that comes down and touches the 128-day moving average, but still closes above the MRI support line of $54,000. We breached the $54,000 mark. We did not even come close to the $51,000 mark, but guess what? Tomorrow is another day. So if we get a little bit of a consolidation and then one more big crash to really freak people out, have it crash down to about 51.5, and then rally all the way back immediately above 54, I believe this correction would then come to an end. As it stands right now, this is a bad candle. It's going to probably close badly. So therefore, this red arrow that I drew about 5 days ago has come true all the way. And I now think that there is a high probability that we're going to go a little bit lower, because I do not believe today has ended the little slide. I am wearing my buy the dip shirt. I believe this will be the final opportunity to buy Bitcoin in the $50,000 vicinity. I don't think you will ever get another chance to do this again. You have maybe another week, maybe two, maybe till the end of the year to buy Bitcoin in the $50,000 vicinity, because I think it's about to go up from here and go up pretty damn well. Short-term chart. Ooh, look at that. The 1 hour chart called the perfect low on an MRI bottom. Yes, it was the second consecutive version, but it rallied right off of there. If we can break above 55,000, I think we can rally all the way back to the breakout area, to the breakdown area of 56. But after that, I'm not sure we are out of the woods yet. I would be cautious on short-term buys to the upside. If you are buying as a dollar cost average strategy or buying, for the long haul, like I said, this is an amazing opportunity to still pick it up on the cheap. So I believe today's a half day in the market. The market is about to probably stop trading very, very soon. And GBTC did not fall all that much, considering what happened. And you can see how we are rising on the GBTC premium as eventually that gets closer to zero. Oil, wow, oil took a big turn down, I guess, with the big crash in the stock market and the anticipation that the world is going to lock everybody down until, well, again, let me not get too political, but more fear that you can't go outside, the world gets shut down. Oil had a big spill. I, of course, was anticipating a big rise in oil. I'll have to think about this a little bit more before commenting, just looking at the charts now. Gold doesn't seem to have moved. And the S&P, I was looking for a drop to that moving average to reset the S&P. I'm probably going to stick with this, a few more days of downside, and then we'll reevaluate. All right, that is pretty much it for me. Unconfiscatable is going on sale soon. It will take place in Las Vegas, March 3rd to 6th. We are not scared of COVID, and we are going to take the risk of trying to do this conference as we skipped last year. You can check out vays.com and the affiliate page. The Financial Summit will go on sale soon as well. And we are looking for a place to do Understanding Bitcoin in 2022. I will try to do a couple of them because it is a smaller conference with tutorials. And in 10 minutes, we will all be watching the premiere of Understanding Bitcoin. These are the videos that were recorded over in Dubai, with the first panel being Stefan Livera, Giacomo Zucco, Bitcoin Mechanic, and Tiero Marcos, who did an awesome job presenting Liquid as well. All right. On that note, I'm going to end screen share. It was a long show. We haven't done a show in a while, and it's time to say our goodbyes.
All right. Fiat Delenda S. This song is done.
Bye, guys.